on example 3 on lesson 1-3. Go ahead and watch this example. We're going to go ahead and write a rule for the piecewise function, and then we're going to do the try-its on page 10 in your white packet that go with this example. So for this function, we have 3 different pieces. We have the blue, we have the red, and we have the green. On the left side, we're going to put the actual rule. That would be the equation that produces that piece. And after the comma, you're going to put the domain for which each function is active. So the blue one, for example, is active when x goes from -2 to where x is 1. This is a line that goes on forever in both directions, but we're only looking at the segment of that line when x goes from -2 to +1. Notice the scale is counting by 2's for every block in each direction. The x's are greater than or equal to -2 because of the closed circle, less than 1 because of that open circle, less than 1. Next, let's do the domain for the red. The red goes from an x value of 1 to an x value of 5, including 1 and 5. The green piece goes from an x value of 5 to an x value of 8. Let's include the 8, but not include the 5, because I do not see a circle there in green, leading me to believe that the green circle was open, covered up by the red circle. That's why we have a less than sign here with the equals, less than sign here without the equal sign. Let's work backwards from green to red to blue to come up with the equations now. The green line, which I'm going to trace over in purple, is just the line y equals 8. Anytime you have a flat line, y equals whatever y value that flat line is at. This is up 8. That's the equation, y equals 8. For the red line, I think we have a positive slope. Let's figure out the slope. We usually use the letter m for slope. We're going to do the change in y from 8 to 4, and the change in x from 5 to 1. That's a difference of 4 over 4, so the slope is 1. So we have the line 1x plus, what would the y-intercept be if this red line continued and struck right there? I believe the y-intercept would be 3. 1x plus 3 should be the equation of the red line. You want to check real quick to make sure these points work. If I plug in 1 for x, I should get 4 for y. If I plug in 5 for x, 5 plus 3 is 8 for y. So that equation looks good. Next, let's do the equation of the blue line. Let's figure out its slope. The coordinates of this point appear to be -2, -10, whereas the coordinates of that open dot are 1, -1. So let's do the change in y over the change in x. Okay, numerator changes from -10 to -1. What's the difference to go from -10 up to -1? That should be a difference of 9 over. How far is it to get from -2 over to +1? So for the x, we have a change of 3. So the rise is 9, the run is 3, making the slope 3 for this line. So we have 3x minus, we actually see the y-intercept for this line, it's -4. Checking real quick to make sure, if you plug 1 in to this equation for x, do you get -1 for y? believe the answer there is yes. And if you put -2 in for x, Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 minus 4 is negative 10 for y. We have our final answer. F of x equals 3x minus 4 from negative 2 to 1, 1x plus 3 from 1 to 5, and 8 from 5 to 8. Go ahead and do the try-its. You're going to see a couple similar problems down here. These are on page 10.